Hello, welcome to Revelator Alf on YouTube. So I really wanted to talk about our manager, David Moyes, and the speculation surrounding whether he will be given the elbow at the end of the season, the summer, by the club, which they have denied, but also more importantly, actually whether he'll just walk. Due to lots of failings in the transfer window and maybe not being supported as much as he thought he was. Let's not forget that everybody has said it's been clear as day that he was only on a 6-month contract until the end of the season, which would then be reviewed depending on the club performance, the team performance, and so on and so forth. So there is no, confusing of the issues here. It was a clear statement right when he was put in place, put in post, and he's accepted that, and he's just taken the ball by the horns and carried on. But yet to be seen whether indeed he's really that happy behind the scenes, whether the club are happy with him. But what I will say about Moyes is that as fans we've had a bit of a bit of a reluctance to accept him initially. Many, including myself, were wondering whether the club had really shown enough ambition with his appointment. But we also needed somebody to shore up our defences and make us more resolute and make us more compact, which he's done. So he's probably not what we wanted, but he's certainly what we needed, I think. And for that he has to be commended, and in many ways he's delivered lots of creditable and credible performances. He's got a lot of players playing together. He's got a tune out of Noble again, who's playing really well under him. Zabaleta is playing well, possibly one of the players of the season. He's got players. Collins has come in to deputise and playing fantastically well. Ogbonna, who knew that he could be a great player again, but he is been brilliant. But probably one of the biggest successes that he's had is actually getting an Arnautovic playing out of his skin, and he's a mercurial talent that many are starting to wonder, could he even rise to the dizzying heights that Paolo Di Canio had with us as well, and the affection that I still have for Paolo Di Canio. I think he's probably one of our greatest players ever, but that's another subject entirely. So, we still got a long way to go with Marko Arnautovic, but I think, the tactics that Moyes has employed with him, the drawing the line in the sand and no-nonsense approach, and also crucially, if you notice, even after the game on Saturday against Watford, we won 2-0, and he put a great performance in Arnautovic, and even scored a goal in the second half. Even after the press conference, Moyes was very careful not to overpraise him, keep him in check a little bit, keep the wild horse from running free, and I like that. He obviously detected an issue there. That there is an issue with Arnautovic and maybe his character, and maybe to say no, these are the boundaries, and you can only operate within that. Okay, and we're not going to let you have any freedom. And I think maybe it's working well for the club. It's certainly working well for Moyes, and it's definitely working well for Arnautovic. Chicharito, he's come back, hasn't he? He's come back. There are lots of voices out there saying how woeful he was, and he would never get a tune out of him, especially now Moyes has taken over. Chicharito, and that's why possibly he wasn't getting a lot of game time. He's also muted to say that he wanted to leave the club in January, but he decided to stay. The club decided to keep him as well, and he's actually starting to play more games. The team, or Moyes, is actually getting the players to play more in the opponent's half, and crucially in their penalty area. And the last 2 or 3 games, certainly 4 games, Chicharito has become more and more successful, had more and more action, and actually bagged 2 or 3 goals, which is all good for the future. If we can continue to do that, if Moyes can continue to do that, that's great. The team has been inconsistent, no doubt. They've had some great results, but not fantastic performances along the way. they've had some terrible results and terrible performances along the way. But overall, we can say that Moyes has done, a sterling job, considering the long list of injured players that we've had, which has just been atrocious. And it continues to be so. So hopefully with the next 2 weeks, we've got a 2-week break now, hopefully a lot of those remaining players can either come off the subs bench or come off the injury list, and we can start getting our best players out there in a starting 11, or certainly having our best players on the field or on the bench and ready to go. The question now remains is whether Moyes can get these players all playing together, whether Lanzini can come back, how he can fit in to the team as well. It all looks good, but there's still big hurdles ahead, lots of uphill struggles. Our next game is against Liverpool. That's going to be an ultra tough match. Then we go away to Swansea, who are on a huge resurgence under their impressive manager. And so we'll see how that fares. And then our next match at home will be at Burnley on the 10th of March, which also coincides with the Real West Ham Fans Action Group March on the 10th of March. Details to be released shortly on that as well, which I fully support. So let's make the owners accountable for what's gone on. But that's another subject again. I just want to concentrate on Moyes and say Moyes has done a fantastic job, in my opinion, in steadying the ship, in getting players to play out of their skin, and also other players that haven't quite got to that level yet. They have definitely improved. Yes, there have been inconsistencies. Yes, there's been lots of issues. And when we've missed key players, that's when we've really noticed and when we've really struggled. But overall, he's done a fantastic job, not only on the field, but also how to manage and deal with all the shenanigans behind the scenes as well. As we know, there's lots going on. The question now remains is he the kind of the manager that will give us attacking, attractive, entertaining football? I don't think we can necessarily say that, but he certainly can give us that structure and that solidity within our ranks to build on from that. And that's what he's always wanted. He's always said that, actually, if you look at his, listen to his press statements, press conferences, he's always talking about they've got to be better going forward or on the counter attack. And I certainly agree with that. And we have started to improve a little bit. So I think it's, this is a real opportunity from now to the end of the season to actually build on, and let's get more attractive and get more attacking prowess out there. Let's see what happens at the end of the season. I hope that, obviously I hope we stay up. I hope we stay in the Premier League. But I certainly hope that they give Moyes the opportunity to extend the contract. Whether he will or not, whether he'll just say, no, I've had enough of the West Ham pantomime, I just won't carry on. I don't know. But I certainly think at this stage it will be our loss rather than his loss. And considering all the hoo-ha that surrounded his appointment, his failings at Sunderland and Real Sociedad and Manchester United, well perceived failings really, and there are lots of other issues surrounding those, of course. But I think he's done a remarkable job, and he can hold his head high. And I also think if he does leave us, which I hope he doesn't, but if he does leave us, I think there'll be quite a few teams that'll be willing to snap him up straight away. So let's just bear that in mind. Okay, so this is just a video to support Moyes really, and to say thank you for doing such a great job so far. But we all know how the season can go. But let's hope that the players will still respond to you, and you can still motivate them and get them fighting forward and being resilient, as we hope they can be. Right, okay. More Revelator Alpha coming soon. Please leave your comments below. Subscribe, that'd be great if you could, and share your thoughts. And see you next time. Cheers.